Hi everyone, it's Mrs. Ladderback. So I'm going to walk you through how to write your Writing to Westfield Part 2 today, okay? So the people of Westfield know that there is rust in their water, but they still don't understand how it formed. That's where you come in. You're going to explain to the people of Westfield how the water formed using your knowledge of chemical reactions. Okay, so there are two things that you really need to have up when you are writing your paragraph today. You need to have your little model here of how West formed completed, and you need your Amplify notebook so that we can pull from our key concepts. All right. So first thing we need to do to write our argument is to state the claim on how rust formed. There are three claims to pick from. That the rust formed from the iron pipes, that it formed from the fertilizer, or from both the iron pipes and the fertilizer. Looking at our model here of the reaction, I see that my rust is composed of iron atoms and oxygen atoms. When I look at my reactants, which is on the before side, I see that I have iron that's by itself, and that the fertilizer has 3 oxygens as well. So that tells me that the correct claim is the third one. So I'm just going to copy and paste that directly into my paragraph, all right? And then, of course, I'm going to look at the next stage, which is use evidence to support the claim. So how do I know that it was the pipes and the fertilizer that changed? This is where I'm going to have to use my descriptions. So I know that in my evidence, I want to include key concepts 3, 5, 6, and 7. So let's go back to our notebook, and we want slide 6. Our chapter 1 has our key concepts right here. So our key concepts 3 is substances have different properties because they make up different groups of atoms, and that these groups vary in the type or number of atoms that make up a group. So I'm going to copy that into my paragraph, right? And then I want to also make sure that everything looks the same and orderly, all right? Now, because I know that substances vary in how they look and appear, okay, I've got that stated, all right? What I need to verify is that looking at the atoms, you need both the iron and the fertilizer to create the rest. So I want to add that in here, that when I am looking at the atomic makeup of the rust, comma, we need atoms from both the pipe substance and fertilizer substance. Right? So now that I have that in there, we need to explain how they formed. Okay, so we talked about how they're made of different properties, and that when we look at the atomic makeup of the rust, we need both the pipe substance and the fertilizer. So what we want to talk about now is how it was formed, that reaction piece. So I'm going to pull up my model here, and I want to include my statement here, which is that the atoms of the reactants rearrange during a chemical reaction to produce the rest as a product. So I'm going to take my sentence that I typed here, and I'm going to implant it into my paragraph, right? And as always, I want to make sure it looks smooth. All right, and it's always good to reread your paragraph as you're doing these cut and paste, so make sure that it flows fluidly, all right, that you sound professional. So the iron pipes and the fertilizer changed into rust. Substances have different properties because they're made of different groups of atoms. These groups vary in the number in the type or number of atoms that make up a group. When I look at the atomic makeup of rust, we need atoms from both the pipe substance and the fertilizer. The atoms of the reactants rearrange during the reaction to produce the rest as a product. All right, so that sounds pretty good. It flows well. Now I need to make sure that I include also key concept 5, 6, and 7. So you see how I keep going back to this little, these dots here, okay, these bullet points? That's the important stuff that I need when I'm grading your assignments. So key concepts 5, 6, and 7. So I'm going to go back to my Amplify notebook, and this time I'm going to go to slide 16. And slide 16 here has key concept 5. During a reaction, one or more starting substance reactants change into one or more different substances products. So I can look at my paragraph here, and I included that. That was my statement from the modeling tool. So I don't need to add that in. Okay, and then I'm going to go back to the rest, and then look here, key concept 6. During reactions, atoms do not change from one type to another. I do not have that in my paragraph, so I'm gonna copy and paste that into my paragraph. Make sure it's included. Okay. All right. So during a reaction, atoms do not change from one type to another. Okay, so that's good. And now I'm going to make sure I have key concept 7 within my paragraph as well. So let's look here. Key concept 7 is that during a reaction, atoms rearrange to form different groups of atoms. So I feel like I already have that in my statement above, that the atoms of the reactants rearranged during the chemical reaction to produce rust as a product. So I feel like that's already in my previous sentence. So it looks like I combined key concept 5 and 7 when I was writing this sentence in my modeling tool, which was up above. All right, so then the last thing I need to do is a concluding statement of how rust formed. Well, after going over my paragraph here, you know, this sentence right here would be best as my concluding statement. So this is why it's always important to reread your work and to think critically about the information I've done. So I can actually just move that sentence to the end, and that covers my concluding statement and a little bit of my evidence. If you don't want to do it and you want to keep it that way, I can review here, and I can keep things simple. Sometimes it's good to keep things simple. Let's see here. There we go. And I can just say that, therefore, the rust was formed through a chemical reaction between atoms of the iron pipes and the atoms of the fertilizer. And actually, you know what? Now that I've typed that out, I actually like that better than my copy and paste. So even while I'm making this video, I am making changes and adjusting my paragraph to fit the best needs. And I actually like that really well because it's common terms for the people of Westfield, which is what they need. Sometimes it's good to have that scientific explanation, but putting things back into common terms is even better when you're explaining situations to the people of Westfield or anybody. All right, so then I've got my claim, correct. That's the first one I've done. The evidence, which I pulled from my modeling tool here, and I pulled from my Google notebook. All right, that's the key concepts. And I made sure to include all the key concepts within it, so that I'm good there. Concluding statement, I decided last minute to do a new one, and I love it, so I'm going to keep that. The last thing I need to do is to highlight the vocabulary terms. That's pretty straightforward. I'm going through, I'm selecting the vocabulary, and I'm highlighting it as I go, okay? I feel like this is like the easiest 2 points you could earn in this class, and yet some reason it's not getting done. I don't know why. Oh, and you know what? It's always good because like as I'm going through here, I realize I did not include the term model in my description. So again, this is a good way to go back and revisit things because I don't have that. I'm going to have to make sure I include it. So where would be the best place to put model? Maybe this atoms, because we can't see atoms. And then these groups vary when I look at the atomic makeup. So atomic makeup, that's another good way to include model because you can't see the atoms with your own eyes. That's why we have this model here to view the atoms. Okay, so we can't see them with our own, eyes. So we use the model here to understand how the atoms rearranged. So in my writing here, it's as simple as saying when I looked at the atomic makeup model, when I'm looking at the atomic makeup model for, remove the of, always good to double check your sentence. All right, so when I'm looking at the atomic makeup model for the rest substance, we needed atoms from both the pipe substance and the fertilizer. Oh, I was looking at, there we go, perfect. Fantastic, so now I have that included, so there's model. All right, so I've got substance, atoms, model, reactant. Need to make sure I add my reactant. All right, so this is a good way to double check my work, that I'm doing everything in my material. There's product, rearranged. So here, 2, 4, 6, 7. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. Oh, I'm missing one. Oh, chemical reaction. Here it is. And done. Okay, so I've got all my terms. I've got the concluding statement, I've got my evidence, and I have my claim. So once I feel like this is a nice polished piece, good to go, because this is worth an assessment point, and then we take all these paragraphs to write one big final letter to the people of Westfield, I want to make sure everything is perfect so that it'll be easier when I do my my final writing piece. So once I feel like this is a good paragraph, all I have to do is click submit, and we're all set. So hopefully that's a nice little easy way to double check your work and to make sure you have everything you need for your paragraph. I hope you have a fantastic day, and I'm looking forward to seeing you again in class. Bye.